At the International Guild Conference in the United States, two men walk through the venue. Lennart Niermann, a representative from Germany's Richter Guild, wonders why so many reporters are gathered. His agent informs him that the Korean hunter everyone is talking about is expected to arrive today. As if on cue, Leonard notices the man and contemplates whether he should approach to exchange pleasantries. Leonard agrees there's no harm in meeting a strong hunter. However, as he gets closer, Leonard suddenly halts, taken aback by what he observes. His agent asks if he's still planning to speak with him, but Leonard questions whether he doesn't see the situation. Leonard realizes that the hunter doesn't summon creatures from another dimension, but instead keeps them around him at all times. Leonard notes that with such a force, the hunter could potentially take on the entire United States. Meanwhile, Jin-ho asks Jin if he sees anyone he recognizes. Jin denies it but mentions there's a foreigner staring at him. Jin-ho reassures him that it's only natural for him to have fans since his name is everywhere in the media, possibly even someone wanting an autograph. Jin-ho then asks why Jin-chul, the chief, is there. Jin-chul explains that he's there as Jin's bodyguard. Jin-ho teases him again, causing Jin-chul to stand awkwardly as Jin thinks he spotted his escorts. Adam greets Jin and his group, but Jin questions Mr. White, wondering why he is there when he was thought to be working for the Asian branch of the Bureau. Mr. White confirms he was but now oversees matters regarding Jin Woo. He tells Jin that his companions will be escorted to a hotel, and Jin tells them to proceed. Adam then asks if he can go with them, prompting Jin to ask if it involves his father. Mr. White reassures him that it is something that will definitely benefit him and that the U.S. Hunter Bureau holds him in high regard. Jin asks if the matter is top secret, and Adam affirms that certain topics do fall under that category. When Jin asks where they are going, Adam reveals they are heading to the Hunter Bureau's HQ. He explains that the Bureau is under significant pressure since Christopher Reed, a key figure in the United States' strength, has passed. They are desperately searching for someone to fill the gap left by his death. Although things are quiet now, they won't be for long, and they are looking for a hunter who could step into his role. Jin asks if he's being considered as a candidate, and Adam elaborates that the value of a runestone correlates to the strength of the monster it was extracted from. The raid, which everyone wants to forget, involved the dragon Kamish. Now the Bureau is searching for a new owner of the runestone from Kamish. Mr. White then asks how Jin feels about their offer. Shocked, Jin requests to see the pictures again, specifically the one of Kamish's body before the runestone. He asks if the U.S. has been storing Kamish's corpse, and Adam confirms that they have. Jin then asks where it is and demands they take him there. He believes that, having already given his time to the Hunter Bureau, he has the right to make this request. However, Adam states that his knowledge is limited to what the UPS has shared, and even he is unaware of the corpse's location. Still, he believes the Bureau would be happy to accommodate Jin's request. He asks if Jin can wait while he takes care of some paperwork, to which Jin agrees. Jin says that since they both have time, they might as well go together. David Brennan asks if Jin Woo is present and whether he's mentioned anything about the runestone. Adam responds that Jin hasn't brought it up at all that day. This catches David off guard, leaving him curious about why Jin is so intent on viewing the corpse. David mentions that he needs to discuss this matter with the deputy director and asks Adam to wait outside. He also questions whether Adam has any idea why Jin is fixated on Kamish's body. The deputy director replies that he can't say for certain, but one thing is clear: Jin is no ordinary tourist. He explains that the value of a skill is extraordinary, and top hunters are willing to pay huge sums for runestones. A skill is a hunter's source of power, and power equates to survival. However, if Jin is more interested in the corpse, it could imply he's seeking something beyond just a skill. The deputy director wonders if Jin's ability is limited only to monsters. A realization strikes him. What if Jin could create summons from the bodies of monsters that have been dead for years? Perhaps Jin plans to make Kamish one of his summons. The director, shocked, insists that this cannot be allowed. No one should possess such immense power. However, he acknowledges that denying Jin's request might damage their relationship. With a resigned sigh, the deputy director agrees to personally escort Jin, thinking it would be a good chance to assess Jin's abilities firsthand. Later, in the elevator, David expresses a desire to speak with Jin in a more relaxed manner, but admits that this is likely how Jin would prefer it. Meanwhile, Jin reflects on how the Hunter Bureau's headquarters was built on the very spot where Kamish was defeated. As they progress, Jin senses an overwhelming magical presence in the air. He wonders how potent the energy must be if there are still remnants lingering after 8 years. He imagines how powerful Kamish would be if turned into a soldier. The bay doors open, revealing the immense creature. David informs Jin that Kamish managed to kill hundreds of elite hunters and was only defeated by the 5 remaining National Authority hunters. The creature's body has been perfectly preserved since its death. David goes on to explain that all the electricity in the building is powered by Kamish's magic crystal. He then asks Jin if he's satisfied, to which Jin tells David to step back. David hesitantly asks if Jin is certain about this, but Jin reassures him that the deputy director has already approved it. As Jin steps forward, David says, "Let's see what happens next." Raising his arm, Jin commands, "Arise!" But instead of the expected result, shock waves of shadow energy erupt from the corpse as the shadow extraction fails. Taking a deep breath, Jin tries again, saying, "Arise!" This time, a malevolent shadow begins to form, and Kamish's shadow bursts from the corpse, roaring. The entire facility is thrown into chaos. Lights explode, and gas pipes rupture from the immense pressure of his presence. The colossal dragon scans his surroundings, locking eyes with Jin Woo, and questions whether it was he who summoned him. The Americans, frozen in disbelief, struggle to process the monstrous figure before them. Realizing there are humans nearby, Kamish declares that they must perish, vowing to slaughter them all, and slams his claws against the thick glass separating them. David is left speechless. The barrier had been fortified with high-level magic cast by an elite hunter, yet Kamish shattered it effortlessly. Without hesitation, the dragon crashes through the protective glass and begins to build up his devastating breath attack. Maintenance staff frantically urge the director to escape, but he knows all too well. This is Kamish's breath. Running won't save anyone. Before the dragon can unleash his destruction, Jin Woo raises his voice, commanding Kamish to stand down. He explains that the magical crystal once implanted in the dragon's skull, which forced him to obey the rulers, had long been removed. There is no longer a need to follow their commands. Hearing Jin Woo speak in the ancient monster language, the Americans are stunned. Kamish's demeanor shifts. Recognizing Jin Woo's presence, he steps forward humbly, acknowledging the immense authority before him. Introducing himself as a lowly servant who once served the Dragon Emperor, he bows in reverence to the new monarch. Jin Woo, taken aback, asks if Kamish truly followed the Dragon Emperor, and Kamish confirms. He once served the king of Berserk Dragons, the monarch of destruction. Jin Woo is rattled. Kamish exudes an aura of pride and raw power, unlike any shadow he's ever encountered. This isn't just a summoned creature. It's a legendary being with a soul and will of its own. The sheer force of Kamish's presence is overwhelming. Meanwhile, the Americans watch in stunned silence, utterly bewildered by the sight of the mighty dragon submitting like a loyal pet. They begin to understand. The king of the dead, the shadow monarch, the king of giants, the monarch of the beginning. Kamish must be tied to the 9 monarchs mentioned by the system, but sadly, Kamish lowers his head. He tells Jin Woo their meeting was tragically late. Even the system cannot reverse the effects of time. Desperate, Jin Woo calls out to the system. But as Kamish begins to fade, he confesses his envy toward His Majesty, envying the eternal loyalty of soldiers who can remain by his side forever. Before vanishing, Kamish warns Jin Woo that there are 4 humans who possess the power of the rulers. He declares it an honor to have met the new monarch, then disappears. The system promptly notifies Jin of a failed shadow extraction. Kamish's soul has returned to the void, lost to time. The delay since his death has rendered further attempts ineffective. Turning to Mr. White, Jin Woo asks him to pass on his regrets to the director, assuring him that he will take responsibility for the damage. As he leaves, Jin Woo punches through the bay door in frustration, his jaw clenched with anger and sorrow. The Americans tremble, overwhelmed by the sheer might of the Shadow Monarch. Follow for more.